This week is all about claiming the change that you came here to be. And so we're going to really look at some of the past ways that we have inhibited ourselves unintentionally and really anchor in to the truth, love, and power that you are. So let's get started.
Welcome to the I'm Perfectly Divine podcast, a place for the strong, sensitive, spiritual seeker to recognize the perfection of your human journey as a pathway emotional and spiritual worlds through proven and grounded frameworks that support you to live in the wholeness you already are. For over the past 2 decades, I have supported people from all around the world, as well as Fortune 500 companies, to dissolve the divisions within them and live with greater empowerment and love. This podcast is an exploration of the paradoxes that befuddle us as we live our lives being both human and divine. Together, you and I, along with other experts, will navigate integrating psychology and spirituality, the divine feminine and the divine masculine, the darkness and the light, to create greater sacred union from within. I believe through your remembering that you are innately divine, that you will allow yourself to more openly shine. So let's get to it, because your unique light is needed more than ever.
I am so glad that you are here with me this week, because this week really is about celebrating you and the courage that you have shown as we have gone through this refinement period, and really how to anchor in the truth, love, and power that you innately are. And in doing so, that you allow yourself to claim the change that you uniquely are here to bring forward. And we don't want to get our egos all involved with this, because it may be, you may have this grand vision, and that's beautiful. And whatever's coming forward, this is a time to trust that. And at the same time, it's really about how you have already shown up for yourself. And I know you have, because if you're listening to this podcast, this is not the surface level aspects to life that we're talking about, right? We've been going deep. And this is really an acknowledgement of how you can really start to see and honor for yourself the changes that you've made, the courage it has taken. And where I want to support you is to really help solidify some of these shifts that we've gone through, so that it feels very much a part of your heart's knowing. And it's so crucial at this time. And so I just want to start with really honoring you, because it's taken a lot of courage to be on this path where you've listened to this podcast. It's been about really refining and making, just having yourself get aligned to your truth, love, and power, so that you can be really walking this way with integrity and also greater ease and inner peace. And the path to that is not easy. And so all the work that you've been doing, I know it's not externally witnessed. And so that's why it's so important for me to honor you and support you to just let's like dial into the power that you've reclaimed. That's what this is about. And so that's why I'm so excited. I'm so excited for you. With all the sifting that we've been doing to refine our vessel as best as we can, it's to allow the divine to move through us more clearly. And your devotion to that is, again, I know it's something that's not externally witnessed, probably not even externally honored. And that's why it's you being able to now allow yourself to honor yourself for how the challenges that you raised your hand to by saying, I'm willing to face them because we know that there's a lot of people that will just, find ways to escape them. And you said, okay, no, I'm going to face them so that I can experience greater clarity, so that I can trust myself more. And if you don't feel like you're quite there yet, that's okay. You want to honor where your trust has strengthened, where your clarity is arising, because not only will that help bring it forth more, it's allowing you to honor everything that you've done up to this point and the work that you did do to go inward to get to that place. Because I think it's so easy for people on the external not to get it when you are able to have that clarity and trust in yourself. Like it's something that you're just born with. And that's, that's the beauty of it because it's coming forward very naturally from you at this point. Um, but you know what it's taken. And that there is an effort to it, meaning a focus and attention and a devotion to you living from your truth, love, and power. Because if it's just handed to us, it's not really strengthened, it's not embodied. And so this really is supporting yourself to see the ripple effect on what it means now that you've done this work. This is kind of a side note, but I'm watching on Netflix. There's a show called Ripple, and it's very interesting to see just like the slightest things, how they impact other people's lives. And so it's a great example of while you may not see externally the ripple effect, I promise you that your energy is creating ripples in the way that you want this world to shift into. And so today we're talking about some of these shifts of what was our norm in the past and how you can continue to anchor in the change that you're meant to be and some of these changes that I hope will resonate with your heart of where I see this, where we're going and what I'm calling the golden age and what ancients have called the golden age that we're stepping into. But it's not like, it's a flip of the calendar and all of a sudden we're in the golden age. There is this transformation and transmutation from fear to love. And so we're in the muck of that. But it's not going to be so scary for you. It can still bring up fear, but because you've gone through your own muck, you understand the transmutation process from fear to love. And so this is how it always, how our evolution always evolve or grows, right? Because we do it within ourselves, and then we'll do it within our close relationships, and then it goes on to a more community-based level. And so this is what we want to be able to recognize so that we can bring it forward more within ourselves. And so the beauty and the magic to this happening now is because we must trust ourselves like no other time, really. The changes that we are facing in this world right now are really guiding us inward. And so that's why you doing all these inward skills is really going to have a positive impact in your life going forward and is so needed as we're going through the muck. And so where we've been operating, you're going to be able to see where those operations not only they don't feel right, and you will know, you'll have a knowingness of what needs to come forward from you in order to respond in a way that is about taking action that will bring about change. So again, this is all about you claiming the change that you came here to bring forward. That's what I want you to anchor into. And so you and I are here right now through these challenges that we're facing exactly because we are meant to be the change agents of this time. And you have a unique aspect that your life experiences and your perceptions and everything that you've done inwardly is guiding you to greater clarity and how to bring forward that change that's going to resonate as truth and love and the next step forward, which will feel empowering for people when they felt stuck in fear. And so it's really recognizing that you have done this inner refinement, not just because your soul called you to do it, although that's always how it begins, that we get this calling, right? And it's like, all right, I don't know where this calling is taking me. And it never feels great when we start going into the underworld, when we start to have to release these layers of the ego that we have bought into as something to achieve in the external world, but it's actually requiring us to let go of so that we can know our innate truth, love, and power. And so, because you have been a contribution to this shift that we are in by doing this inner work, you are able to recognize your own old patterns where fear was running the show, and we all have them and still have them, but your awareness to them is going to help you bring more awareness to the ways that fear is still operating in the greater world, and you will personally know how to address it in alignment with your higher self. You're just going to, because again, you've been clearing the vessel to do that. So knowing yourself is what you've been doing. That's what I mean when we're clearing the vessel. It's not like we're it's just being able to see to okay, it's being able to be in the muck enough that it settles so you can sift through it. And it's because of this and that sifting and that refinement that you've known yourself. And knowing yourself, it sounds all, I don't know, spiritual and nice, but it's one of the most difficult things to do. To me, we're never over knowing ourselves until we move on from this lifetime. And it's one of the most critical elements of this time, because it's what is going to make you a trusted guide for change. Because it's not saying that I'm above my ego. That's what I want to get clear, that when I talk about us clearing our vessel, it's not from a place of superiority. It's from a place of continuing to be willing to shadow dance, to recognize that our humanity is always bringing in a level of the ego, and how we can see it there and dance with it without, and kind of, laugh and play and understand how it shows up for us without getting entangled in it. That's what I mean. So hopefully this is making sense. So you see, in this world that is constantly altered by AI, right? Like, we know that half of what we are watching online isn't real. Like, people have said, like, I was following a parrot or something online that they thought was real, and like got really connected to, some aspect that they thought was real happening in nature, and it was all altered. It's like our eyes it used to be that our eyes would show us the proof and the truth, and we can't rely on that anymore. And this is a gift. This is a gift, because what it's doing is we can't rely on our five senses, and we overly relied on our five senses. And we were taught to turn away from our feeling state as a trusted guide. And now we're coming back to that. This, what's in our hearts, is what we must rely on. That's the power that's been there all along. And so this is your trusted guide and your guidance system. And for so long, we've been taught not to feel, exactly because this is where our power is. And now it's coming back to reclaiming this aspect of our true power that is felt, that cannot be taken away from us once we know how to reclaim it in a way that's accurate for us. So again, the refinement is there in order that we can get through the ego's weeds and all the things that it wants to distract us with. And instead, we have an understanding of what is really true for us. We've pulled the weeds, we've lifted the veils, and we continue to look at challenges that arise, because when emotions arise, it's our opportunity to see what shadow is teaching us to know more about ourselves, to become more and more trustworthy to ourselves, so we can trust ourselves as we have to listen to our hearts now on how to move forward. So our gnosis within our hearts brings us this feeling state. I mean, this is all the work that happens, not only when we clear emotions that have triggered us, but that's why people rely so much on breath work. Breath work allows us to feel the expansiveness of our hearts in any and every given moment that we can connect there and provide that stillness. And it becomes able to radiate easier without the ego weeds there, right? And so that is when we are able to be more into our feeling states and trust them, we're able to bring more dramatic shifts in the world that change the way that we live for the better. So AI, again, is pushing us beyond our five senses. That's how I see it. And this is going to be a gift for us, especially those of us who feel that spiritual connection, because so much we've been told to rely on the mind, and we know the mind is beautiful, but not when it gets, it separates us from spirit. And our world is no longer what you see is proof. Like, we just can't rely on that. And even what you hear from another isn't exactly proof, because they could just be listening to someone else regurgitating it and putting it into AI and acting like it's them, right? So you really have to feel into knowing your truth and then allowing that to connect with another's truth, and allowing that to be your guide of what is right for you and how to bring the change forward that you are meant to bring forward into this world, and really trusting your heart. Right now, as I say this, I feel such a power in my heart. And so that's what all this has been doing, is that you can come back to these feeling states within your body that allow you to feel that, like physically feel that. And if you would like support with that, you can join my free masterclass, Emotional Alchemy of the Heart, because I'm guiding you how, like, everyday triggers, how to process them in mind, body, spirit, and emotion. Because a lot of times we can process something in our mind and think, okay, I got it, I'm good. But emotionally, we're still triggered. Spiritually, there's still something there. There's an opportunity for us to grow. And our bodies aren't quite feeling that heart expansiveness yet. And so check out Emotional Alchemy of the Heart. If you haven't, just go to my website, michelleburcell.com, and you'll see that it's a free training there for you. So again, the gift is that we are able to turn back to something that makes us feel, by our ability to tune into our hearts. And while this inner work hasn't been recognizable to anyone, it's about you making your connection and access to your heart clearer and clearer and clearer, and so that you feel it. And it makes this energy that you've cleared, and you being able to now witness the patterns of where your ego would want to take you to, and the veils of separation, and just, you can see it and you're like, okay, I see it, but I'm not re-entering that delusion. I'm not re-entering the delusion of separation. So I know you are feeling this on some level because, again, it's been your devotion. And it's just really important that if your ego is saying right now, well, I don't feel it like so and so, like you, Michelle, or blah, 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 that is like, let's just recognize the pattern of the ego right there that always wants to compare us in some way. And instead, use it as an opportunity to say, this is my opportunity to stay awake from how the ego wants to pull me in certain directions and how I have choice. I have choice to stand in my truth. And if I want support with anchoring in more of my truth, there's ways that I can gain support in what feels right for me as a next step, and trust that for yourself. So it's really just knowing your heart knows the way. And by doing this work, you are less about you being caught up in the fear, and you're becoming more clearer, more certain, more ready for your role as you usher in the change you are meant to carry forward. And again, this does not have to be an ego grandiose version. This could be change that you're bringing forward for how you, how you love your family, how you show up for community. This is the power that our ego wants to, in the past, wants to put us into powerlessness. And the shift really is recognizing the power of your heart and that it can move mountains when we really trust and believe in it. So because it is so freaking clear that the paradigms we have been operating in so many areas of life are backwards, that this is the time that these challenges can embolden you to recognize this is my part in creating change. And it will embolden you because you will feel it. And there is this energy that wants to move through you. So I really want to put a name on what we are moving away from in the past. And this is just like the tip of the iceberg. And you may have your own, pieces that are really clear for you. And if that's the case, I would love to hear them and what is shifting for you. Let me really name what's coming forward that I think that's going to help us all emotionally so we can feel very, very anchored into our hearts. So in the past, we would have been using reactivity as a way to demonstrate that we care. And where this is shifting is that you are going to have feelings stirred, but they're going to be turning into focused, purpose-filled action to make a change. So the shift really is, it's not just about, I'm going to be reactive to demonstrate I care. There's something coming forward that's very clear about how I'm meant to be a part of this change. And it's channeling the energy of fear that we bought into, that me alone, I don't have power, to seeing the ego want to say that, and instead see how you are a part of inspired action and allowing that energy to channel through you how it wants to. And how much trust that takes in ourselves, that there's an impulse, something from spirit guiding you, and you are going to follow through with it because you recognize the impact if you don't. Your heart feels it so deeply, you feel like you have no other choice but to follow this inspired action. And so you are moved by life in a way that's less inhibited by the ego fears, by the ego narratives that little old you couldn't make a difference. And you're like, oh, let me stand in what I know. Let me be the voice for what I'm clear about. And you're not afraid because you've done the filtering and refinement. So much of what inhibited us before is because we would feel something, but the ego was barking and had its stories and narratives and blah blah blah, and you're just witnessing them, and you don't put as much energy towards them, and now that energy can come through you in the inspired change that you are meant to bring forward. And this doesn't all have to be on you, and that would be an ego story. It's bringing forward your piece of it and how that wants to build on with one another. That all of us that are coming from this heart space are going to be resonating with that energy, and it's going to move us as well. And so we're all going to be parts of this different ripple effects of the change that we are each meant to be. And so channeling this energy of fear into inspired action, this is the biggest way and the biggest why on the collective of why we continue to clear the way internally. So you can trust yourself to do that. Because rather than fear, you will respond with a deeper and deeper resolve. You are doing this to align back with your soul's knowingness and gain steadiness there. And that's so exciting because you'll still see and witness the chaos, and not that we won't sometimes get spun in it, but we'll know our way back to our center so that we can find our steadiness and know how to respond in a way that brings forward the change that we came here to be. Don't expect perfection on this. That again is ego. Our human selves might waver, but the difference is if you do, you see it as an opportunity to know yourself even more, to know where your ego wants to take away your power and you're not allowing it. And that brings you greater and greater clarity to your knowingness. You have done all the inner work to move out of beliefs of powerlessness, to know and claim your power with integrity and love. It's so profound. And so this is really just honoring you and naming this shift so that you can really claim it as well. From the past, we're going to shift from mental health as a weakness to in the future, really honoring it as a strength. And this is why I've always urged us to recognize that we are not broken when we are experiencing mental health things and challenges. This is learning to work with advanced sensitivities. That's what this has been about. Every person who has experienced depression and anxiety and suicidal thoughts and anger and rage and guilt, it has made sense when we are inclusive of the spiritual aspects that are also going on for someone. And all it took was helping them to make sense of it and to follow the ways this energetic intelligence was running within them, to understand it from a place of honor that didn't make them wrong. And that is what helped them make shifts that they were able to then utilize to turn around their lives. That this experience with mental health challenges was something that was there to clear the way to more of their knowing, to more of their truth, love, and power. And this cannot happen when we are told that we are broken or impaired. And so part of the model that treats us like we are weak is not supporting us. And I get that if you're in the midst of a mental health challenge, you may not even want to hear this, because I know when you're in it, you don't feel empowered and you are made to feel weak. And it's not right. And this is what I'm talking about, where we're shifting things that just truly are not right. Because when you are going through a mental health challenge, you are one of the strongest, because you have internal battles that you are facing largely alone. You feel unanchored, lost, stuck. and people can't recognize what you're going through. And think about the amount of strength that that takes for you to know how to take a step forward. And yet you find your way. And you are recognizing you aren't broken. You're chosen to work through what has inhibited your heart. And this may be aspects from your past. This could be ancestral patterns, karmic patterns from previous lives. And if we don't integrate that aspect, then we don't honor and see the sacredness of what someone is going through as they're working through this period of challenge in their life. And so when I say that this is sacred, it's sacred because it's not easy. And especially it's not easy when we've been labeling it completely wrong as a weakness, when you have to be so courageous and so strong. And that you've had to navigate that during a time where that hasn't been honored it's even more significant that you honor this for yourself and see the strength that has now been hard earned as you've continued to find your way forward, to trust yourself, to find different ways, perhaps, of understanding yourself so that you could truly know yourself. And really taking this in, how strong you are. If you're here, you're probably emotionally sensitive. And again, that's another piece where we've said that's a weakness, and really that this extra sensitivity, like how do I work with it in this world, that considers that a weakness. And you learning how to work with it in a way that honors you without it being something that disempowers you. Because even ways that we've been turned to try to help us can sometimes disempower us, and knowing the difference between that. So you found a way to keep moving forward when you've lacked energy, when you didn't know what to do, when you felt completely lost. And I know that through all the thick and heavy and stuck energy, you were working your way through those ego weeds and found more of you. And that is no easy task. And so this is our time to honor this, to see it, and to recognize how that has shifted your perspective about yourself and life, and really honor the courage that it has taken. And so the shift that will be coming forward more and more is recognizing the courage one is willing to face to address these old patterns within yourself that you've carried through. Again, your ancestors, karma, facing this for your lineage of the past and the future, how that creates a different impact. And humanity does not recognize this, but it's why some people just have more stuff than others that they are working through. And it makes a lot more sense to honor this and to see this on a spiritual level than calling them weak, because people that go through this have the strongest spirits I know. And if that's you, to honor that, if that's someone in your life, to honor that. And this goes along with another shift where we've had shifts of putting our leaders on a pedestal, that they are somehow superior. And then we've seen that whenever we do this to our leaders or we do this to ourselves, there's a crashing down that happens. We've seen this in the church, and then there's, weird, there's just, stuff happening or just wrong stuff, misuse, and abuse happening, right? And not just in church, in any position of power. And so we're going to be shifting from leaders in recognizing the ways that we've expected our leaders to be all that, versus choosing leaders that can shadow dance, choosing leaders that can relate to all aspects of our humanity, to be with us in the muck. And if someone's saying, I'm over X, Y, and Z, meaning I'm superior to it, that becomes a red flag. And honoring the depth of your journey, because it's the depth of your soul work. So all of this is what we're going to be tuning into to resonate with. And that you aren't trying to overcome your own humanity, because we are here for a reason in the human form, for a reason. And that reason is because that is the way to gain self-gnosis. And if we're trying to overcome our humanity, that is all ego, BS. And that's part of the shift. So you are trustworthy exactly because you are willing to be with all aspects of who you are. And just honor it, love it, have compassion for it, and be in integrity with what comes forward as it guides you to know yourself even more, and to have the courage to do that. And then lastly, the biggest shift that will be was this energy of feeling that we've basically been programmed not to trust our feelings at all, and to shift that to trusting our feelings with certainty. And we're able to do that now because of the work that you have done to refine. It's really important to understand that the reason feelings became untrustworthy in the old paradigm is because we were guided to place external outcomes before our heart's knowing. And now external outcomes are being altered. And we have an opportunity to see this as a gift, to reclaim our true power that resides in the knowingness of our hearts. And this is the most difficult work that we can do. And I know you have likely felt alone in the process, but that has also been part of the experience. So you know exactly the way your ego works, that you see your ego trying to pull you into its storyline, and instead you are building the muscle of knowing yourself and knowing your heart. And you become steadier and steadier with that, so that you stay awake and don't fall back asleep into the societal programming that has turned us against our most innermost power and strength, the knowingness of our hearts. So if you know you have outdated programs, that are still there, they're still running, it's important not to judge yourself for it. It really is honoring your willingness to see it, because we know others will run away from it still, and that's okay. It's not judging them for it. It's just understanding that you are here to bring forward change, and that may not be their soul's purpose. So you being called to do this work is a part of this. And you may be impacting those in this ripple effect who aren't willing, so that you can be supportive to help them see another way. And so if you want support with staying awake, from these past patterns, and any way that emotions arise that you still feel you turn against yourself, whether it's dealing with anxiety, depression, sensitivity, anger, rage, and how to align your energy back to your innate truth, love, and power, check out Eyes Wide Open, because that's what I'm guiding you to do in that program. So I just want you to know that I witness you. I witness you and your courage and your strength. And always know, there's nothing to fix, just to remember you are innately love and power. And the world needs this coming from you. And so I'm so honored that we are connected. I'm so honored that you are refining in these ways. So, and I look forward to reconnecting again next week. And thank you again for being a part of this podcast.
I am so honored you have joined me today. If you enjoyed the I'm Perfectly Divine podcast, subscribe so you don't miss any of our power-filled episodes. Also, if you know another who is strong, sensitive, and spiritual and wants to dive deeper into emotions and ancient wisdom so they too can create profound peace and fulfillment from within, please share this podcast. Thank you again for joining me, and I look forward to reconnecting with you soon.